So, Sophia, what have you been eating? Tell us.
I had some ice cream today.
Of what variety, flavor?
It was Americone Dream, which is actually it's like a Stephen Colbert specific Ben
It's the
and
Ben
Jerry's
and Jerry
flavor.
specialty.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. Was it good?
It's delicious.
Are you a Ben? Are you a Ben and Jerry's connoisseur?
We.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, Stephen Colbert is my late night host of choice.
Mm.
I think Jimmy Fallon is overrated.
I feel like nobody likes Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, nobody's overrating Jimmy Fallon. He's just rated.
He had Donald Trump on his show. Also, Donald Trump was the host of SNL like right before he ran, which I thought was irresponsible.
All
right.
What's the worst that could happen?
Parth, what have you eaten? What's in your
Are
body?
you okay, Trent?
Yeah. I'm
I just had pizza. My dad bought a pizza
Any
oven.
toppings?
And no, it was just like mozzarella cheese and some sauce.
Oh, did your father cook it with his pizza oven?
With his pizza oven, and it gets cooked in a minute. It was
really
lovely.
Is the temperature rather high?
It's like 900 something degrees.
Oh wow, dangerous.
I guess that's how you cook a pizza in 1 minute.
Yeah.
You couldn't wait the standard 15 by cooking it for like at 300. You're in a rush.
I'm a hungry boy.
Are there like
You
settings on the pizza oven, or does it just like
It's
avoid
pretty
only
much
900?
It's
It's not gradual. It's all or nothing. It's either room temperature or 900.
It doesn't preheat.
we have it attached to a gas like tank, so you
Good.
can heat it however much you want. But you can also put like charcoal and like.
But in the Marathe
coal or
household, they're on
whatever.
full blast.
Yeah, we go crazy.
Not a lot of patience there.
No. They need their pizza as quickly as possible, ASAP. And they need to be able to turn out several pizzas in less than 5 minutes.
Aside from my family's pizza eating habits, what have you been eating, Trent?
I just really had quite the feast. I'm in New Brunswick right now, so I got some taqueria, and I had un burrito, and
What
some
language is
Ital-
that? That sounds exotic.
Espanol. I got up to Spanish 3 in high school.
Wait, you're really cool now. Trent, that's sexy.
You think so? To be bilingual? That's really a generous label. But it was delicious, and I'm full and energized and nourished. And I'm ready to fucking go. Let's podcast.
So I guess let's cue the intro.
Welcome back to Craft Services, the podcast where we talk about the movies. Each week we discuss a different film and hopefully have an interview with a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience. We interviewed Vashi, editorial consultant of Gone Girl, in our last episode. Check it out. So this week we're going to discuss Gone Girl, the David Fincher feature from 2014 starring Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike, based on the 2012 Gillian Flynn novel of the same name, and she wrote the screenplay. With us, we have a guest, Sophia Alexis, friend of Parth. Welcome. That's
Hello.
your title.
I'm the friend of Parth.
Yeah, did you like that grand introduction I gave you?
Yeah, I appreciated it. I think it's important to note that I'm your first female guest.
You're the first female to ever be included in the podcast, and we've had like 9 or 10 men. We're probably in the double digit for men.
It's not looking too good.
Nice of you
We
to
have a bad body count.
You're spicing it up. Yeah, our ratio is bad.
Yeah, really. Rutgers would
We
never.
wouldn't get into a Rutgers frat party.
Having 10 guys and 1 girl, and most of them are adult men in the film industry.
I'm pretty cute. I could help.
Yeah, Sophia, maybe you could do enough heavy lifting looks-wise for like the 10 of us. That'd be really a
Yeah,
miracle.
probably.
All right, Parth, you're here too. That's nice. Nice
Okay,
to see you.
Thank you. Well, Trent, do you want me to read a synopsis of Gone Girl?
Please keep it to 2 sentences or less.
With his wife's disappearance having become the focus of an intense media circus, a man sees the spotlight turned on him when it's suspected that he may not be innocent,
making him guilty of murder in Missouri, where apparently they have the death penalty. Bummer. So the budget was $61 million US, and the box office, Parth, tell me.
Well, I'll let you know that made $370 million.
So like 7 times their money. Good work, movie industry. You profited. This is a long production history you've drafted here.
Well, I guess I'll quickly give a rundown of what happened. Gone Girl was a 2012 novel by Gillian Flynn. It was brought to the attention of Reese Witherspoon, who was originally going to play the main female lead.
But now she was just a producer in the finished product.
Yeah, so it got acquired by 20th Century Fox. David Fincher got attached to it. David Fincher said, "Screw you, Reese Witherspoon. I'm going to put Rosamund Pike in it."
I've never seen her in anything. Have you?
She's
my first run-in.
She's in the first Jack Reacher movie, starring TC, Tom Cruise, my fave. And she's in Johnny English Reborn.
Oh, well, everyone's seen that, so.
It's a good comedy, and you should all check it out.
All right, moving on.
Anyways.
Well, this was a big step, then. I mean,
yeah.
It's a huge movie.
I mean, she was never really, like, given much acclaim for any of her performances, but this one really brought her to
next level.
So then Fincher basically spent a lot of time working with Gillian Flynn on her script, basically because he's an established director. And then she studied screenplay books, met with Steve Kloves, who wrote the screenplays for almost all of the Harry Potter movies, except for Order of the Phoenix. He provided guidance.
Why change the screenwriter for just that one?
I've read that Steve Kloves, he wrote like 20 or 30 pages, but he was just like, I don't feel like it. And that was, and they just got, I think Michael Goldberg or Goldenberg
so what,
or something like that.
He did 7 out of 8 in a franchise? That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So she met with him, he helped her, and she discussed with Fincher over the phone, and lots of scenes were rewritten a bunch of times. Lots of things from the book were distilled or cut out. And she worked on the film's ending a lot. She wrote a bunch of different versions of it. And in her words, she said, "Once we got to the ending, I wanted it to wrap up quickly. I didn't want 8 million more loop-de-loops. I had no problem tossing stuff out and trying to figure out the best way to get there."
Yeah, I wonder if the ending is the same in the book. Do we know?
Yeah, I have no real clue what happens in the book, but I've been told that it's a fairly faithful adaptation, which
you would think being
assume.
Written by the same person.
Yeah. So
and being she was very involved, and it wasn't just like a puppet just to put her name on it.
Yeah. So
interesting that she describes the end of her book as loop-de-loops.
Well, she was trying to avoid loop-de-loops because there'd been enough loop-de-loops
to cut it out of the script
far.
To make the script not have a lot of loop-de-loops in the end, thus implying that the books had a lot of loop-de-loops in the end.
Well, I feel like in a book you are allowed to have more loop-de-loops, but in already a 2.5 hour movie, I think the end needed to wrap up pretty quickly as it decided to do.
I think pacing works really different in a book than it does in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a movie, especially once you get to those like last 20 minutes, you're like, oh, okay, let's get to it.
I think the difference between like a 2.5 hour movie and a 3 hour movie is huge compared to like a book with 250 pages compared to like 300 pages. Like that's not that much. It's not asking that much more.
Well, anyways, on September 11, 2013, they started filming establishing shots. They started principal photography on September 15th in Missouri. A bunch of interior scenes were filmed in Los Angeles. And according to producer Seon Sheffin, who is David Fincher's wife, there were as many as 50 takes per scene, which is standard for Fincher. Production shut down for 4 days when Affleck refused to wear a New York Yankees cap because he is a man of Boston. And yeah, and then movie came out 2014. It was a pretty big success, and here we are.
So this movie has some reviews on Amazon. People had a lot to say. 4% of them are one star, and we're gonna read some. The first one is labeled 1 star, which is funny because you could have just looked at the stars for that. But it says, great start, good acting, but, in all capitals, it has an unrealistic and pathetic ending. Wasted 2.5 hours. Okay, next one. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. I can't believe I made myself sit through this. Very poorly made. I'm not an expert in film, but it's unbelievable and has poor acting. The plot is violent. By the way, I read the book too. Just as bad. OMG! Exclamation point. Don't buy it! Exclamation point. Waste of money! Exclamation point. All I can say is the positive reviewers are probably paid computers. Isn't that a handful? And then this one, it says a filthy movie. ... And this is the reviewer is Janice G. Joyce, which is quite the name. And she included a picture in her emoticon, and it's seemingly a middle-aged white woman, and she's angry. It says, a filthy movie, borders on porno. I returned it. I don't allow filth like this in my home. Moving on.
Well, those were some incredible reviews by some incredible people. Thank you, Trent.
Yeah, they're angry.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Now that we've talked about that, do we want to get into our own thoughts on the movie?
Let's do it.
So as always, let's start with direction, production design, and technical stuff. Sophia, you want to start?
I don't know. What do I start?
Parth.
You're the film kid out of us three.
That's true.
All right, Parth.
I guess I'll start.
Thank you, Parth. We appreciate it. You need to carry us for this portion of the episode. This isn't where me and Sophia thrive.
It's true.
This is kind of standard David Fincher technical aspects-wise. As always, really good with cinematography, really good at editing, really good at shot composition. Like on a fundamental like filmmaking level, it's a really, really well-made movie.
It's the same cinematographer, Jeff Cronenworth, who I guess has been the DOP for pretty much all of his movies since 1999, starting with Fight Club and until most recently. The music was done.
He was actually there were some second unit shots for the movie Seven that had to be done, and that movie's cinematographer Darius Kanji had some other movie to do, so they got Jeff Cronenweth, who is the son of Jordan Cronenweth, who is the cinematographer of Blade Runner and a bunch of other classic movies, who was originally slated to do Alien 3, another David Fincher joint.
David Fincher, yeah.
But then he died, so he had to be replaced.
Aww.
How many times have you seen this movie, everyone?
I've seen it like 4 or 5 times, something like that.
That's impressive.
Wow, 4 or 5.
I've seen it twice, once with Parth, once today.
Yeah, I watched it once solo and then once last night to refresh my memory so I could
solo, you
contribute. Parth, take it away.
So here's why Solo, a Star Wars story,
is relevant to our current conversation.
No, I guess we'll leave that for another time. Maybe we'll cover Solo later. But
can we talk about the cast?
Yeah, let's.
We got Ben Affleck. Batman's in this movie, but this is pre-Batman.
This is true. I think everybody's well cast except for Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, give me your thoughts on that. What about Tyler Perry? He's in this movie. I liked him.
I think he's good in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know about his directing career, but yeah, in this he's great.
I don't know about Tyler Perry in general, but
tell me about your wild animosity of Neil Patrick Harris.
I like Neil Patrick Harris. I just don't know why
too.
He's in this movie.
Sophia
texted me. Sophia texted me as she was watching this movie, and she was like, "Wait, why is Neil Patrick Harris? Who made that decision?"
Like, I feel like somebody probably reached out to him, and who wanted him? Like, who was like, "This is our guy."
I feel like Neil Patrick Harris at that point was most well known for like How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother. That's like really all he's known from. I feel like he's kind of trapped to that role.
Yeah, but like he's really good in that show, and he is that kind of like charismatic ladies' man, whatever,
Even
and he
though
plays
he's a
it well.
homosexual man.
But like, yes, this is true. he is in fact confirmed gay. But
no need for further comment. Move on.
But in this movie, I feel like they've taken a person who's known for being like pretty like big. He's like a theater guy, and then they put him in this really weird like, I don't know, like diminutive role, and I don't.
He just
think
looks like such a
all.
little man in it. I don't know how to explain it better than that. He just doesn't.
Who should
fit.
play? Who should play that character? Because it has to be like a simp, you know? Because that's all he is.
I feel like it needed to be more of like a rich boy kind of vibe.
He is rich.
Yeah,
no,
but
I
not
agree
the
with
right
Sophia
vibe.
on this. He's not like he doesn't give off to me like I'm really rich and
like I don't care about other people's feelings kind of. He's just kind of like there, I don't know.
I think he's trapped to Barney Stinson in the same way that like Jim Parsons is trapped to, like Sheldon Cooper. It's like they're so known for one thing in particular that it's weird when they're in other stuff. Like Mark Hamill from Star Wars had this problem too.
Although he broke out of it to a certain extent through voice work, because Mark Hamill ended up becoming like the Joker, and he was like really good in it, and now he has 2 super recognizable roles.
But he just couldn't be in live action stuff because he had his face was Luke Skywalker, as you know.
Yeah, but like Neil Patrick Harris, I don't know. Like, have you seen the a series of
in the
Unfortunate
Smurfs
Events?
movie.
Oh well.
No,
I've seen the Smurfs movie.
Isn't Jim Carrey in that?
Well, that's
I don't remember.
Which movie?
The Smurfs movie.
No, Jim Carrey isn't in that.
Isn't Jim Carrey in A Series of Unfortunate Events?
Oh.
He's in A Series of Unfortunate Events of the movie.
But you're talking about a different rendition?
There's a Netflix show came out a few years back.
Cool.
In which Neil Patrick Harris plays the role that Jim Carrey did. And he's good in that. I think he's really good when he has like big roles to play, like, kind of like theater like.
Yeah, he was a caged version. I like seeing him unleashed. All right, to continue on with the cast, I recently just learned that Emily Ratajkowski plays Andy, and I guess she's like a big model. Is that right? Can anyone confirm? I've like heard that name before. She's a famous person.
She was in the Blurred Lines music video. She had no top.
And then there's the music is by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. I guess that's worth noting. He has the same name that I do, which is cool. But no further comment. Let's move on.
All right. Well, I think we should maybe get into our thoughts on the actual story of this movie. Sophia, since you're our esteemed guest,
it's nice to have you.
I kind of already know what you're gonna say, because I saw this movie with you once. Why don't you tell us?
Sophia doesn't like this movie, guys.
Tell us about your thoughts on this film.
I don't know where to begin. I think this movie is an anti-victim movie, and
really?
I really cannot like agree with many of the decisions.
Tell us more about that.
Okay, so obviously she fakes getting raped 2 separate occasions.
Yeah.
She fakes spousal abuse. So a big conversation in the whole movie is this discussion on abuse, like sexual abuse and like relationship abuse and stuff. And they use that in such a like weird way that really, I don't know, I couldn't agree with it. I guess the main
what
problem...
specifically about it can you not agree?
I think that it's making women and victims look bad because they're saying that some people can fake it, which in this case happens throughout the plot.
Yeah, and it's okay. So here's my main issue: is that it was obviously a huge movie. A lot of people known about it. It's rated pretty highly. A lot of money went into it, and it made a lot of money. And it is bigger than really any other movie that I can think of that features like women or people in general that have been abused or assaulted. So this is the primary narrative that people are being given from the film industry. So the movies that you watch kind of form the opinions and the way you take in the world, like as does all media. So when we watch a movie that tells us, oh, well, you should have been questioning the victim all along. How could you just believe her so easily? Like, you are an idiot for believing her. Obviously, she was lying to you. Then it gives you this feeling that in the future, like going forwards, even if you don't realize it, you are now going to question victims. And I don't really feel like that's a positive narrative to be
A
like
good take-home message.
Yeah, or even like especially like the most dominant message on the topic of abuse in the film industry right now, or like the biggest movie talking about abuse is like are movies like these, and not movies about like people's experiences.
Well put. Yeah, Parth and I are men, so like we didn't see that perspective at all.
Well, I have to say,
No, it's all valid points. I mean, I feel like there are a lot more TV shows that talk about like survivors than like blockbuster Hollywood movies.
Yeah, definitely.
I have to say that I had seen this movie essentially when it came out, and this was like when I was really getting into movies. So then I was really taken away with how it was like made, which it's really well constructed. The thing about it that I find is if you look at it on a narrative base, it's really cool how it plays with structure. There's the twists in the end of the first act and end of the second act are really cool, just on a pure narrative basis.
Well, in the book, they alternate chapters of the narrators,
Yeah.
which is where that came from. But in this movie, I think it's more biased towards the Ben Affleck part.
Yeah, and I think,
Or at least he gets more screen time.
and I think when I watched it for the first time, I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. And part of that had to do with the fact that I was in 8th grade, and I was like, whoa, what an edgy movie.
It is an edgy movie. I watched it for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I felt that angst.
So then when I subsequently watched it, I that like the whole thing of like questioning victims and do we like, oh, should we really just immediately believe her? Because there's an entire scene in which she's explaining what was a faked like attempted murder on her to a bunch of police officers, and the one lady police officer is like, wait, what about
Officer Boney?
That's her name?
Is that her name?
Yeah, right? Isn't that funny?
That was a decision.
And we just let them get away with that.
But there's that whole scene, and there's the scene in which and she's just like, wait, that's not adding up. And then everybody's like, wait, shut up, just like listen to her. Can't you see that she's so upset? And it is kind of.
This is after she's recovered and she's still alive,
covered in blood in the hospital room.
So then it's like, what? As I was watching it for the first time with Sophia, it had been sort of shown to me like, oh, it's telling you that the media tries to manipulate everything, and you shouldn't wholeheartedly believe these survivors just because it can be manipulated. And Ben Affleck's character is portrayed as like, oh yeah, I mean, he cheated on her, but like, look at all these horrible things that happened to him. Look at what can happen. And
yeah,
and
like,
it's like
you're obviously supposed to relate to his character and not the other woman's character.
He's the protagonist.
Mm-hmm. And wait, I have a choice quote from the movie that he gives.
Please.
Oh, you took notes?
Share.
I have one quote. He said this and I just couldn't. Ready? And this is treated as like true. He goes, "I'm so sick of being apart by women."
No, he says, I'm sick of being ripped apart by women.
I'm so sorry. But
it's okay.
It's like, here's the thing. From what I've heard, my mom read the book, and my mom's a psychologist, and she also had a big problem with the book as well. But from what I've heard, the book is more like they're both kind of in the wrong. She's just more in the wrong. Like, he's a worse person in the book. Whereas in the movie,
the downfall of their marriage? Because she's in the wrong throughout this movie.
Yes, but I think in the book there's a bigger problem with him cheating and potentially like abusing her. I'm not entirely certain, but there's certain
Well, it does
issues.
smack the shit out of her at least once, as we saw.
and so he's supposed to be a misogynist in the book. That's kind of a big point of it, is that he is a misogynist in the book, but in the movie we don't really get that so much. So it's just kind of like something he says, and we're all supposed to be like, oh, okay. Like, they describe the woman on TV as a blonde bimbo the whole time. That other woman that like is pretends to be her friend and then robs her. Like, it's just like the whole narrative is either women are idiots and bimbos, blonde bimbos, or they are evil and conniving and will backstab you.
Yeah, are there any? I feel like Officer Boney is the best example of like a strong woman in
That
this,
can't
in
be
this
her
movie.
real name. Is that her name in the movie?
I swear, you can fact check me, but there's no need. I saw it in the subtitles and it made an impression. Also, Officer Boney's assistant, he's the actor from Almost Famous. His name, Patrick Fugit. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Sophia, have you? If not, we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it. Never mind.
One of the officers is from this one show. What is it called? I don't know. It's like a teen show, and his name is Mouth.
Good point.
Just on the topic of like the book versus the movie, from what I haven't read the book, but I did read a lot of in preparation for this discussion. I read a bunch of articles that came out about the movie, because the initial response to the movie was, yeah, it's a really good movie, but what is it saying, and how do we feel about what it's saying? So there was a bunch of articles about, wait, is this misogynistic? Is it? And it was a highly contested movie.
Like Sophia was saying, sorry, I don't make Nick's character out to be a misogynist. I just think he's a good guy, but he's had a few like slip ups. So that's where it's like confusing as to his his connotation.
Because in the book, from what I read, there's more shown that like on their like third anniversary he goes to like strip clubs, and because you can in a book you can sort of give an internal monologue. It's shown like, oh, he feels like he kind of wants to like assault a woman that doesn't like fully agree with him and stuff like that. And so I think from what I haven't read the book, to be completely clear, but a lot of that gets lost in the movie.
In the movie, the downfall of their relationship is pretty much like they both lost their jobs, and then he was being lazy, and she started to resent him, and then
he had a dying mother,
and then it pried them apart, and she was resentful because she made him move, or he made her move to Missouri, which would be tough for anyone,
especially a New Yorker.
Was she employed? I was thinking about this because he was a creative writing teacher at a community college.
I don't know.
She wrote quizzes. Like online quizzes or something like that, and then she was also unemployed. Yeah, they both lost.
Did she say it was personality quizzes in magazines?
Something like that, yeah.
Because he was a men's magazine writer, which plays into his, I don't know, masculinity. I guess that would make more sense in the book.
They also do in the movie, which is kind of weird, is that the police and the media are all aware of the fact that, or believe at least, that he was abusing her, regardless of if he murdered her or not. They have this journal and like this log and this friend that has vouched for the fact that she's been abused this whole time. And when she comes back after what she presents as being kidnapped and raped, they're like, oh, so you're cool going back with your abusive husband? And they're all like, yeah, like you're gonna go back with the abusive husband? And she's like, yeah, that's okay. Like, what?
Well, her journal is like permissible as evidence, and in it, literally the last entry was like,
I think my husband is gonna kill me.
Yeah, and then they're just like, oh, okay, so you're cool going back there? Like, all right.
Yeah, and the cops believe the journal to be true, and he denied, like, hitting her, but it seems as though it happened. And as soon as she's back, all of the problems in the movie are instantly solved. But I feel like there would still be a lot of, like, legal implications for them.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if the police have evidence of spousal abuse, which is a crime, I don't know how much they're just going to be like, oh, well, like, case dismissed, she's not dead.
They would be investigating her murder of Desi Collins, because that was, like, suspicious too. And I feel like this movie was done in like, or it takes place in like the digital age where it's really hard to get away with murder. And I feel like without even question, she just like goes home and she's like allowed to restart her life just because she was a pregnant woman who happened to be kidnapped.
It's also strange, the other implication there, that this is like another kind of small point, but when she goes to live with Desi, which also such a name that just doesn't fit Neil Patrick Harris. But when she does go with him, we already know that she's like a bad person and that she's tricking him essentially. But even still, he's like pushing himself onto her. Like,
yeah, he's like, you can live in my house for like 48 hours, but eventually you're gonna have to have sex with me.
Yeah, and we're supposed to be like, well, that's kind of what she deserves. Which is like a lot of these things, it's just like planting a lot of like anti-women, anti-victim like rhetoric and narratives kind of. Even, and I don't know whose fault it is. Like, I don't know where it went wrong. I think it was a lot of people made a lot of little mistakes, and this is definitely not their intention, but it ended up being like a movie that's like this message of the movie just being like, well, you shouldn't trust those pesky victims.
I think the worst part in terms of what you're talking about is where he like interviews like the old boyfriend who like was a registered sex offender now, because
Amy's gone from being raped to being murdered.
It's just a direct example of theoretically saying like how easy it is for women to get away with this and to like ruin men's lives, as if they would do it in an antagonistic way rather than if they were just
even though this
subjected.
Is like the percent of people that make up rape allegations is so low, and yet this is such a big topic on the media's attention and on like public opinion's attention, because we will always protect our men before we protect our women.
Well, this movie did come out before the Me Too movement, which is worth noting.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like now I feel like there's this whole narrative about like, oh, well, you could lose your job over a sexual assault claim. And that's exactly like, it's an exact portrayal of that.
I think, again, not to talk outside of the podcast, but the first time that I showed it to Sophia, I kind of brought up what you had brought up, Trent, of I don't know that this movie would be made the way it was
if it were made now.
If it were made today.
That's a good point.
It came out in 2014, so it's not like it's like an ancient movie.
An ancient relic.
But I would say that I don't know that treatment of women has necessarily become better, but I do think that like people care more about whether it looks like they're treating women better.
Yeah, it's more likely to get called out. So
and the thing that there's two things that make me not like outright hate this movie. It's because I think it's well-intentioned and kind of horribly misguided in many ways, because it's written by a woman, which doesn't necessarily mean that she can't have internalized misogyny. But it's written about a woman, and when she wrote the book and when the movie came out, there were lots of women that were like, I mean, I hope to think I'm not a psychopathic murderer, but there's a lot in this that I really relate to. And I mean, the big one is like the cool girl monologue. And the thing is, that is an experience of a lot of women, of they're expected to be the, you know, like, I'm going to smile and I'm going to watch your Adam Sandler movies and I'm going to,
I think that's good because it like shows like the escalation of like her tolerance of like men's bullshit, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, that is I mean, again, straight male here, but like, from what I've heard when I've talked with women, that is a thing that exists, of this expectation that you will be okay with whatever your man wants. And you have to deal with that. And I think that Gillian Flynn is trying to comment on something there, and it gets lost within what is essentially a Lifetime movie. Like it's kind of
it's really well done Lifetime movie.
Like, I'm not joking. Like movie. It's a really like it's a page turner. it's a really well-made one, but it's
what ended up being cut out because the book was too long to put into a movie just ended up being all the examples of him being a bad person in their relationship and all the examples of her being like oppressed in any capacity as a woman. And then we just get a movie that's like him as the protagonist.
I think Ben Affleck needs to be likable for this movie to work, which is probably why those things were curated out. Because if he was an asshole and then less people would want to like sit through like 2.5 hours where he's like the main subject. It's because he's like handsome and charming, which is commented on. It's like kind of a vital part of his character.
Yeah, and I also think like the second point I was going to bring up is David Fincher, because I think it's a really interesting case where the screenwriter is the same person as the original author of the book,
of the source material.
So in a lot of cases where a book is being adapted into a movie and you get something that's like, oh, you kind of distorted the message to a certain extent. That happens a lot of times when another writer ends up adapting it because it's, obviously it's going to happen. But because of that, and Gillian Flynn is now very successful, has a whole other show under her belt, a few other movies that have come out that she's written, and she has a new
she's doing
Amazon
okay
show.
for herself.
She's not been like, oh yeah, Gone Girl was like, I don't know about that. So that makes me think that she kind of stands by it, which makes me think she still thinks it's a good thing. And David Fincher has made movies like Fight Club, which many people can disagree on it, but I think at least the intention of that is to delve
comment
into
on aggressive men and
toxic masculinity and male to male and male to female relationships and all that stuff. And
I interpret that as a satire also that's commenting on the absurdity of it.
And you can agree or disagree on the effectiveness of it, but you can definitely see the intent. And so
I think that's like an understood reading.
What?
That's like an understood reading of Fight Club. Although some people are turned off by it if they don't see that angle.
And so I think David Fincher is coming at this on good terms. But I think in a pre-Me Too movement, we were more okay with, yeah, but like, what if she's lying though? Whereas now that's more called to the forefront, like just 3 years later.
Especially in the cultural moment that we're in, like watching it when this is such a sensitive topic, it makes it look so much more blaring. Because if that were released today, it wouldn't fly, and it would definitely be ridiculed for its for one of its messages. Or
yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think that they came at this like
we're gonna make a fuck women movie.
Yeah, exactly. But like, as someone who is a friend of many victims and am a victim myself, watching this movie genuinely felt like a slap in the face, and I just don't understand how you could watch it without feeling like nauseous. Like I don't know. It ended up being like no bueno.
Was it just that aspect that turned you off to it entirely, or did you not like the movie as a whole?
I thought the movie was fine as a whole. Like it could have gone in so many other directions as well, but just like the end product,
I think it's too intrinsically tied to be kind of separated from that.
Exactly. So you can't. It's such a vital part of the plot that like it doesn't end. There's no beginning and end of like the victim blaming in it. Kind of like it's kind of the.
It's not like there's the one scene. It's not like there's the one scene with that guy where he's like, if there was that one scene and you're like, whoa, that was a decision, and then everything else was fine, you can be like, not a great scene, but still it's an okay movie. But like the whole message of the movie is like, maybe we need to be scared that men will be taken down.
Yeah. It's like men being scared of like their privileges being taken away.
I think the media is portrayed as like a big idiot in this movie too, but I think that's funny. And like and very topical. Like with all the news reporter ladies, or like the specific blonde one, right?
Yeah. Trent, yeah, I don't know if you said what you overall think of this movie.
Yeah,
this whole thing.
I watched this movie on your account, Parth, on your Vudu, and so I watched the first like 2 hours, and at that point, I was so anxious to see the end, and then my Vudu got cut off, and then my electricity was out for like 4 days, and I couldn't watch it until like 4 days later. So there was so much suspense built up for the last 30 minutes, and I was like so amped. I was talking about Gone Girl all over town. I was like, this is the best movie I've seen in a long time. And the last 30 minutes really like slapped me in the face. I was dissatisfied with the end, which I think is something we need to discuss.
What would you have changed?
I thought it ended so abruptly.
I don't know what else they would have included to make it less abrupt.
How did she get his sperm sample? Like, because what's insinuated is that she stole his fluid and then impregnated herself with his child and was going to hold him hostage for 18 years. And he said that he was going to stand by it because he didn't want to abandon his child.
It was put earlier in the movie that he had frozen some in like a sperm bank or something.
Yeah, but he like gets the notice in the mail that it had been like properly disposed of. But so it's
I'm assuming that maybe she
or forged that document.
Yeah,
it must have been one of the two. But yeah, she's made out to be like so sinister, but like in a likable way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised by your take of you really loved the first 2 hours, but then the last 30 minutes turned you off.
I just think I had so much anticipation for the first time around because I was like, there's been so many twists and turns. Where is this going to end? Because it seemed like when she came home, there was still so much left to do because I knew it just wouldn't end. And I just thought it would go a lot further. I was thinking about, would this, and this is going to sound crazy, would this movie have worked if like Nick killed Amy? Or is that like taking away the entire premise?
I think that would leave less, like...
to do, because otherwise that would just make it a pretty standard murder movie.
Because it leaves you feeling uneasy, is the... like, it's supposed to at least leave you feeling uneasy.
What the first 2 hours set up, I don't think that it really makes sense for him to murder her. Because the whole point is about how... agree with it or disagree with it, it kind of does show like, oh, how the media can really like how perceptions can be so easily formed against somebody. And so if it ends with him actually doing what everybody thinks he's done, it kind of takes away from that message.
Parth, I know this movie has an aspect that you love from Knives Out where it changes the stakes or like the lens halfway through.
Yeah, no. Well, I've talked about this earlier with Trent in previous private conversations with him.
Off air.
Where I really like it when movies do a thing where at like a first act break or midway point, completely change the rules by which the movie is playing.
Which Knives Out does.
Which
well.
I mean, I don't want to spoil Knives Out for anybody that hasn't seen it, but like this movie does it where the first 40 minutes we don't know if Nick killed Amy.
I think you're kind of led to believe that he may have.
Yeah, and then 40 minutes in we get the knowledge that, oh, she staged this whole thing, which completely changes what all of the tension is and what you are now scared of happening in the movie. I love it when movies do that, and this movie does it like twice because I didn't expect her to come back. Because I didn't expect her to come back like that, at least. So then, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I thought it was interesting that she decided to come back just because she had nowhere else to go because she got her money stolen and Neil Patrick Harris was gonna like rape her.
I thought the plan was to kill herself, so I don't know why she didn't do that.
My question is, why would she want to kill herself? You'd think that she would just want to run away and like live her life in Mexico or something.
I guess she really wanted him to get the death penalty, and for that to happen, you have to have a body. But they can track how long a body has been dead for, so I don't...
Right?
So, like, it'd be one thing if she was, like, planning on killing herself, like, the day after or something, but she was planning on doing it months down, which just wouldn't really work.
Another huge plot hole I saw is if Nick doesn't, like, go to Pebble Beach to, like, think if he wants to get a divorce or not, say he just, like, went immediately, like, to a public place, then he would have an alibi, and then he couldn't be tied to the murder. He couldn't be accused of it.
Yeah, she really held on to that statement that she was like, "Go somewhere and think about our marriage." Like, why did he take that so literally? I feel like I
Again,
wouldn't.
this movie is a page turner. It is not like it is like really standard kind of trashy magazine material written as high art, which I think is where like the problems come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If there was one witness, like, say, in the neighborhood, like, then, like, her entire plan is foiled. So I like movies where, like, every angle of a crime is thought out, and this isn't as thorough as her plan is. At the beginning, there are some issues that no one
Yeah, they
addresses.
try to make it seem like she is such an
That it's the
intelligent
master
person
plan.
that she didn't make any mistakes, but then it just ends up being like luck, quite honestly.
What do you think is the function of, like, the Amazing Amy book franchise, like, as a subplot in this movie?
I guess it brings the media into her life even before the whole problem. It's
Yeah,
like you
it makes
see
her
how that.
disappearance like a big deal.
Yeah, and it also has affected her life before even their whole marriage. The media has been affecting this girl or woman like her entire life.
And it gives the parents money because, like, the trust
Mhm.
fund being removed is a big deal.
And it makes I think it ties it in thematically to public versus private perceptions of a person. Because the whole thing is, oh yeah, like you're supposed to, because the whole big thing is I have to pretend that I give a shit about all of these things that you care about so that we can give the public perception that we are in a happy marriage, so that I can in public be like, oh yeah, I love my husband and he loves me, whereas privately she doesn't care about any of that, and that's not who she is. And that's a huge point in the movie. So I think the books kind of function as that is from day one for her. Like in that one scene where it was like, when I stopped taking like some cello lessons, she suddenly became a prodigy. So it's like changing the public perception of reality to make it better.
This is kind of random, but I felt like the music was really weird. Like that like weird like
I liked
dreamy
the
music. I didn't like
ambiance.
it. I thought it was like stupid.
I'm gonna have to disagree
I didn't
there.
like it.
I thought it was, like, nice and airy and suspenseful. Like, I don't think there could be, like, real, like, I don't know, like, lyrical music behind it because it's so dialogue driven. I think it just
Yeah,
had
I
to
don't
be,
think it
like,
needed to have lyrical music, but it just like the music was so loud and they would use that same track over and over, that like dreamy kind of sound or whatever, and I just thought it sounded, I don't know, I didn't like it. I thought it was dumb.
I generally like what Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor bring to the table. I was a fan.
all right, let's assign a rating out of 10. Parth, you go first.
I don't know how to rate this movie.
And where does this lie in your David Fincher ranking?
Below Social Network, below Seven, below Fight Club, below
Zodiac?
I
haven't seen Girl with Dragon Tattoo. And I
It
haven't
might
seen
be
Alien
above
3,
Girl with the
but I
Dragon
think that's all.
Tattoo, because I think Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is a little bit... no.
What about Benjamin Button? I put this above that.
I like Benjamin Button more than this.
Parth loves Benjamin Button.
I
know,
thought it was
he's a
fun.
sentimental guy.
But I guess, in terms of how it's made as a movie, probably an 8 out of 10. In terms of what it is as a movie, I don't know that I can really rate it. Because it's like, the direction's good, the acting is good, the plot turns are good. But like,
I feel like it's
overall
objectively
message,
so entertaining.
yeah, it is
I
a
think
page
it's
turner.
technically high art.
Yeah, but so I don't know. I don't know. Sophia, your thoughts?
Take it away.
I also don't know. I feel like I'm bad at rating things in general. I can give it a 2 out of 10 because like it
Whoa.
theoretically could be good, but like I found it deeply offensive.
Oh,
I have not
so
been
you're
offended.
giving it a 2?
I have not been offended by a movie like I have been offended by Gone Girl, I think ever. Like, it was so awful.
You were personally wronged by it.
Yes.
Now I feel hesitant about being really supportive of it. I'm gonna give it like a 6.5, being that like I still thoroughly enjoyed it, but in my David Fincher ranking, it's just a compliment to him that I love all of his movies so much more, but it's lower on my David Fincher list. I'm gonna give it a 7, or lock it in. Final answer.
I guess the thing is, like, for you watching it versus for me watching it, like, coming at it as a female is like, I could never enjoy the movie. Like, it's not like I got the chance, like both of you did, to watch it once and then contemplate later how it was offensive. So it's like, I think that as a movie, the idea behind it could be really entertaining, but I was never able to watch it and just be entertained. I was only able to watch it and be, like, disgusted by it, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a woman, you have more, like, personal politics in the game, and Parth and I are kind of blind to that. So, we're just puppets, baby. We're just, we're the lowest common denominator, just consuming content. And supporting anything we can get our grubby little hands on.
Well, I guess that's it for this episode, right?
What's the next episode, Parth? Tell the lovely people.
Trent, did you see a movie that came out earlier this year titled Birds of Prey?
It was the last movie I saw in theaters before the Rona hit. I saw it in the RU cinema. It was a matinee.
Do you remember interviewing Evan Schiff, editor or co-editor of Birds of Prey?
How could I forget?
Well, our next episode is our interview with Evan Schiff. He worked on...
Editor of Birds of Prey.
Worked on Birds of Prey, worked on John Wick 2 and 3, worked on Mission Impossible 4, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, a bunch of movies. You got a fun J.J. Abrams story in this one. Tune in next week, guys. It's going to be a wild ride.
Thank you to our guest, Sophia, Parth's friend.
Thank you for having me, friends.
You're first woman. This is a major landmark for us.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try to get some women.
Happy to represent.
Yes. Now, we just need to have 10 more male guests before we need another female to meet quota.
Well, obviously, it's ratio.
It's opposite frat house ratio. All right. Goodbye.
Bye, fellas.
Bye.
All right. Stop recording.